Hi guys, part 2 of the Chattahoochee Valley Railway, Little Red Caboose. It's going to go up closer and we'll take a look. There's those springs and rail system. You can see the big wheels on the iron. It's been a long time since I've seen one of these behind a train. I think what they use now is just a common red light. Boy, that's just pure steel. These things are made of nothing but pure iron. These were the leaf spring type car. Didn't have the springs on it. It had more of a leaf spring to it, like you would see on an automobile. And this would be the back end of the caboose. Of course, they have iron gates on it where you can't get up there to them. But you could get up on top by that ladder. They have a couple of rungs took out where people can't get up there for safety. This end would be set up just like the other one. So yeah, if you want some to reach a pretty good history about the West Point Valley area, the Chattahoochee Valley Railway, and it started out as the Chattahoochee Railroad in the 1800s. So it's a good read, it's good history to know about the area. Comes right after the Civil War. About when Lynette Mill was built, when Riverview Mill was built, Landale, all around 1866 to 1869. And of course then you had Shawmut and Fairfax Mills. This was all one big mill area. A lot of families went through those mills and made a good living. And have a little bench, kind of like the parks on a lake, that give you some history. And I'll see if I can include these on 2 videos. My phone doesn't take long videos, and I'm going to put this all in one part. Chattahoochee Valley Railway was constructed by the West Point Manufacturing Company to serve several cotton mills that are operated along the west bank of the Chattahoochee River. The 1921 issue of Poor's Manual of Railroads indicated that the company had 5 locomotives, 6 passenger cars, 2 box cars, 4 flat cars, and 2 Little Red Cabooses. A somewhat different report in the 1920 McGraw Transit Directory noted that the Chattahoochee Valley Railway operated storage battery cars from West Point to Standing Rock and Bleecker, summarizing the equipment as 2 motor passenger cars, 5 trailing passenger cars, and 12 freight cars. The caboose, located here, that's the little red one I just showed you, is an excellent example of railway history. The next one is the West Point Depot. West Point Depot was a historic site for transfer of freight between Montgomery and Atlanta in the late 1800s. Because of different gauge railroad tracks, it was necessary for all trains traveling through West Point to stop and offload the goods and passengers, thus established a town with its ties to the railroad and community renowned for its southern hospitality to travelers. Today, this completely renovated and restored freight depot has resumed its stature and the juncture between 2 states, providing event space that is available for various activities, such as weddings, birthday parties, and things like that. And last but not least, or least but not last, this was one of the freight cars, box cars as we call them. We would see them on tracks as kids, and there's still this type of box car pretty much is still being used today. West Point, Georgia was an important early trading post located on the east bank of the Chattahoochee River. In 1833, there were 100 settlers in the area. The town of West Point was incorporated on December the 26th, 1831. The town prospered as a trade center. In 1851, the Montgomery and West Point Railroad entered the town on the west side of the river. And by 1856, most businesses had moved to the west side to have better access to the railroad. The city of West Point historic downtown continues to thrive today along the banks of the Chattahoochee River, and it has done for over 180 years. All right, guys, that's a little history of it. Like I said, the West Point Railroad, as it mentions there, was in effect in the late 1800s, and around 1900s it did change to the Chattahoochee Valley Railway. So having that, we'll do one more little piece to this, and we'll go over and take a look at one of the box cars, namely that one, that they would move back and forth between the mills with the cotton on them. All right, guys, see you on the next.